صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Everybody together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this year the year of the reappearance of our beloved Imam al-Mahdi ajalallah ta'ala faraj sharif with the blessing of another loud salawat. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst His companions and His sincere soldiers with the blessing of another loud salawat. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله اصطفاك وطهرك واصطفاك على نساء العالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. One of the names of Fatimiyah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, Lady of Light, Lady of Heaven, one of her names is Muhaddatha. In the book Alal al-Shara'i' by Sheikh al-Saduq, very beautiful book, Alal al-Shara'i', the reasons for our Sharia. You know, all of our youth ask, why is this, why is this, why is this? All of the whys that they ask. Well, Sheikh al-Saduq has this book, 2 volumes, Alal al-Shara'i'. There is a bab, there is a chapter in it, باب العلة التي من أجلها سميت فاطمة عليها السلام محدثة. The reason why Fatimiyah al-Zahra salamullah alayha is called Muhaddatha. And there is a hadith by Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam which is very important for us to know. For us to know the names of Fatimiyah al-Zahra salamullah alayha and to get to know the meanings of her names, and when we have daughters to make sure we bring the name of Fatimiyah al-Zahra into life. This is one of the ways that we can appreciate the life of Fatimiyah al-Zahra by bringing her names into our life. Our daughters to have the name of Fatimiyah al-Zahra. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, إنما سميت فاطمة محدثة لأن الملائكة كانت تهبط من السماء فتناديها كما تنادي مريم بنت عمران. The reason why Fatimiyah al-Zahra, one of her name is Muhaddatha, is because angels, they used to come down, descend upon Lady Fatima, and they will have a conversation with Fatimiyah al-Zahra. The same way that Malaika and angels would have conversation with Maryam bint Imran, mother of Prophet Isa ala nabina wa alayhi wa alayhi salam. فتقول يا فاطمة, Malaika will tell her, يا فاطمة الله اصطفاك وطهرك واصطفاك على نساء العالمين. يا فاطمة اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين. Malaika, the same conversation that they had with Maryam, mother of Prophet Isa, bint Imran, that they would tell her in Surah Al-Imran chapter 3 verse 42, and mention when the angel said, O Mary, indeed Allah has chosen you and purified you and chosen you above the women of the worlds. O Mary, be devoutly obedient to your Lord and prostrate and bow with those who bow. The same conversation that they had with Maryam, they will have the same conversation with Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. They will tell her exactly the same thing. Fatimah al-Zahra replied to them that فقالت لهم ذات ليلة أليست المفضلة على نساء العالمين مريم بنت عمران. Isn't that Maryam? She's the chosen one by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's the more virtuous. They replied, إن مريم كانت سيدة نساء عالمها. Maryam was the leader of the woman of her time. ولكن وعالمها وسيدة نساء الأولين والآخرين. إن الله عز وجل جعلك سيدة نساء عالمك وعالمها وسيدة نساء الأولين والآخرين. اللهم صل على محمد. Allah has chosen you. You are the leader of all the women of all the worlds before, current and after. You are the leader of all the women. This is the Fatima that we were talking about. That inshallah 3 nights we come and we talk about her virtues. Whatever legacy she left behind for you and I as brothers and sisters. This is a segment about her fada'il, her virtues. Let's get a little bit more tangible and a little bit more practical. She has a segment of her dua, which she did after Salatul Asr. Brothers and sisters, after Salah, there is a hadith that Allah tells the Malaika that after Salah, right now is the time for my abd, for my servant to ask me in order for me to grant him or her their needs. That's the time. We did Salah, we did everything. It is the time, but unfortunately my servant quickly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, left. We have a lot of ta'qibat, we have a lot of du'as after Salah. I'm not telling you to read all of them. Fatimah al-Zahra, she has dua after Salat al-Subuh, after Salat al-Dhuhr, and Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam has du'as. In all of the book of Mafatih al-Janan that we have either physical copy or we have the ones application on our phones, you go to ta'qibat, all the du'as that are recommended after Salah to be read. Let me slowly, again, I'm not saying if I want to read all the ta'qibat, probably it's going to take me about half an hour to 40 minutes. A lot of ad'iyas that are out there. And it's the time for us to ask dua. Because in our salah we said, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. We did praise Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa hamdih, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We did all of that. We finished. Right now is the time to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our dua. That is what we learn from the teachings of Ahl Bayt alayhim as-salam. That they will do dua and dua and dua and dua. Slowly introduce new dua that are out there in the books into your practices. After Salat al-Subuh, read one of the duas. After Salat al-Dhuhr, read one of the ta'qibat. Asr, one of the taqibat. Maghrib and Isha, the same thing. Slowly introduce new mustahab act to your wajibat. Slowly. Don't go all 9 yards. Okay, after Salat, I need to sit and read 50 pages of Quran, 50 verses of Quran. I want to read this dua. Guess what? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, This is it. No. Slowly introduce new mustahab act into your daily prayers. In this dua, the segment of this dua, Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, she's bringing our attention to a very important aspect and concern that you and I should have, which typically people don't have. We're talking about Fatimah al-Zahra, that she's been behind the door, broken ribs. Her haqq has been taken away from her. She miscarried her baby. All the issues that has happened to her, slap on the face and da'm masa'ib, we will read all of these masa'ib. She has gone through what she has gone through. Still, with this, all of this background, look what she's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. When we get an issue within our life, be it whatever issue that we have in our life, all of us, we are facing some kind of issues in our lives. Problems, difficulties. Youngsters have different issues. Teenagers have different issues. Youth have different issues. Parents have different issues. Adults have different issues. Women have different issues. Men have different issues. We have different issues and concerns that right now, if I ask you, each and every one of you can raise hand and say, what is your concern about? That is bugging you right now. Even you're sitting here, suddenly I see you looking at me like this and then you're gone. Then I have to knock, make sure I get back your attention, because that concern is in your mind. It just keep bugging you, keep bugging you, keep bugging you. All of us, we have concern in our life. Fatimah al-Zahra, whatever she has gone through, it's not her concern. Again, her broken ribs, not her concern. Everything that has happened to Fatimah al-Zahra, it's not her concern. Within this dua, we see her concern is something more important, that you and I, we should follow the footsteps of Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. Let's have salawat by her names. Her name. In this segment of dua, she says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa la taj'al ad-dunya akbar hammi wa la taj'al musibati fi dini. O Allah, send your salat on Muhammad and ali Muhammad. Wa la taj'al, do not make dunya and whatever is dunya to be my biggest concern. Isn't this the biggest concern for all of us? Don't we see the bills? Don't we have all of these issues because of dunya? Right now, I answer this question from myself and I answer you this question. Let us answer it within ourselves. How many of us, I don't want to see your hand, how many of us, akhirah, life after death is our concern? Answer it yourself. Have I thought about akhirah? Have I thought about life after death? That death can come at any moment. Am I ready? Have I sent anything overseas? Have I? Or I have not? If I have not, they came to Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, they say, why are all of us, we are afraid of death? Why? He said, because you built this dunya and you destroyed akhirah. All of us, nice houses, no problem with it. We can work and provide beautiful houses, no problem. We have within the du'as of Ahl Bayt that have taught you and I to ask, Allahumma arzuqni daran wasi'a. Oh Allah, give me rizq. One of the rizq is to have a big house. There's nothing wrong with having a big house. Good car, good life, good clothes, good food. Nothing's wrong with that. But are these things my main concern in life? The biggest concern I have? Is this my biggest concern or not? Fatimah al-Zahra is teaching you and I to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, don't make this dunya to be my greatest concern. And do not let this dunya to become in a way that becomes tragedy and musibah. Because of that, my deen is jeopardized. my deen is destroyed. No. Everything I do in life, my main concern is akhirah. I enjoy this life. I need to emphasize on this. I do enjoy this life as much as I can, but my main concern, I wake up in the morning, what can I do for my akhirah? As a wife, what can I do for my akhirah? As a husband, what can I do for my akhirah? As a father, what can I do for my akhirah? As a mother, what can I do for my akhirah? As a child, what can I do for my akhirah? As a community member, what can I do for my akhirah, for life after death? That should be keep bugging me. It should be like all here, all the time. I only think, and my biggest concern is akhirah and deen. Dunya is there. I'm going to live, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to study, and I'm going to be number one in my education, and I'm going to become a millionaire and billionaire, but I make sure that this dunya doesn't become my biggest concern. Akhirah should be my biggest concern. You see one dua, Fatimiyah Zahra, how it changes our perspective toward our life? Some people, they work in this dunya as that there is, in a way that there is no akhirah. As if they are living in this world for eternity. No. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. This should be one of our du'as and our qunut after salah. Allahumma wa la taj'al ad-dunya akbar hammi. Do not make this dunya to be my greatest concern. And I have to raise, as a parent, I have to raise children which dunya is not their biggest concern. And make sure they get educated, no doubt. And make sure they become successful in their business, in their education, in their endeavor, no doubt. But I make sure I keep educating them and planting the seed that whatever you do in this dunya, do it, but your biggest concern should be akhirah, not this dunya. Because this dunya will finish. 40 years, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 years. I don't think, as much as I want to be optimistic, I don't think any of us are going to make it to 200 years. Anybody think they're going to make it to 200 years? No. We are so lucky with the food, the kind of food that we are eating and all of these accidents and everything. We get to 80, 90, we have to say, Alhamdulillah, I made it to 90 years old. One day, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he had different companions. He didn't see one of his companions for a period of time. Maybe this guy was a regular, maybe once every other day he would come see the Imam, back and forth. Then, for a period of time, he was missing. One of his friends came to the presence of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam Sadiq asked him, فقال له فدخل عليه بعض معارفه. Some people that they knew of him, they came. فقال له فلان ما فعل. What happened to him? I haven't seen him for a long time. فجعل يرجع الكلام يظن أنه إنما يعني الميسرة والدنيا. That person thought Imam Sadiq is asking about how is his wealth, how is his life, how is his worldly gain happening. And he was probably saying, well, you know, this guy, poor guy, he's not making the ends meet. His bills are late. His car payments, probably his camel payments is not on time. They're about to tow his camel, maybe. Or maybe his house, he hasn't been able to pay the mortgage. And his house is about to go for foreclosure. He was thinking about that Imam Sadiq is asking about this person's materialistic life. How is he doing? And he was about to go toward that direction. فقال أبو عبد الله, Imam replies, كيف دينه? I didn't ask you about how much money he's making, if he's sick or not, if his house is on foreclosure or not, if he lost his ride, or if... I didn't ask about this. كيف دينه? How is his religiosity? Is his deen protected or not? فقال كما تحب. His deen is the way that you like it, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. So there is a standard that Imam al-Sadiq wants you and I as his Shia, our deen to be this way. And people during Imam al-Sadiq's life, they knew that Imam likes this kind of deen and this kind of religiosity from people. This kind of practices, they knew of it. He says, well, his deen, his religiosity is the way that you like it. كما تحب فقال هو والله الغنى. He's really, really rich. Even though maybe his car payment is late, 60 days or 90 days. Even though maybe he has received a notification and a mail in the letter that, okay, you have to evacuate your house. Even though he might be sick. Even though he might got fired from his job. Doesn't matter. How is his deen? How is his religiosity? His religion, his practices of religion. Is it in his own place? Is it protected? Then he is rich. He doesn't need anything else. Do I have that kind of mindset and mentality in my life? This is what I have to think of. I see some of the parents, may Allah bless them. I can see them here. Some of the parents are really, really, really concerned about their kids. I can see many faces. They are concerned about their kids' religiosity, their kids' iman and faith. Beautiful. They will drive hours and hours, miles and miles, days and days to make sure that their kids are raised within Islamic centers, within deen, within aqaid, within ahkam. They have this concern, very important. May Allah increase in this concern of yours. We should have this concern as a parents. Not only our children, I should have concern about my own deen and religiosity also. We should not think that if I reach age of 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, my religion will be intact. This is it. Shaitan will not come near me anymore. No. I've said this many times. Shaitan is with you and I until our last. This leaves. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That's the moment Shaitan says, okay, if I was able to convince him to leave Allah and become a disbeliever, then alhamdulillah, successful. I get a golden coin for myself. If not, that's the problem for Shaitan. Where is deen in my life? What is deen in my life? Some of us, I have to remind myself and remind the audience. People, when they come, they say, okay, this boy came and asked my daughter's hand. I know I've said this many times, but it's a good reminder. Okay, how's the boy's religiosity? Yusalli wa yasum. He prays and fasts. This is it. Religion of Islam. Rasulullah, 23 years. He went through what he went through. Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, one after one shaheed. Starting with Rasulullah, he became shaheed, he's martyred, he's poisoned. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Fatimiyah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Mustafa, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. All the Imams, they all gave everything that they had for this deen to get to you and I. All this deen is only prayed and fasting, that's it. This is deen. This is the summary of deen. Yusalli wa yasum. Salah is wajib, no doubt. Fasting is wajib, no doubt. But this is not only deen. Deen encompasses everything that we do in our life. Deen has teaching for you and I. Everything that we do, every moment of our life, there is a teaching from the Quran and the life of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam for that exact moment. There is a teaching. Wife and husband relationship, parents and kids relationship, community member, finance, work ethics, self-improvement, motivation. You name it. You give me a topic. If we cannot find hadith about it and verse of the Holy Quran about that specific topic that elaborates for you and I, how should we fix the issue that we have in that moment? This is deep. Why? Because قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام, salawat by his name. This salawat shows that half of the people are sleeping. So the other people that are awake, inshallah, make sure you do a little bit slower salawat so we don't wake the other half, inshallah. Let's have a loud salawat. قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام الدين نور. Deen is light. What is the benefit of the light? With light we see everything. With light we find our guidance. With light there is no more issues physically. We won't be harming ourselves or harming other people. Imagine if suddenly all the lights of the center turns off suddenly for whatever reason. How difficult it will be for us to leave this place. If it became pitch black, how difficult it would be for you and I to leave this place without hitting one another, without bumping to one another, without harming ourselves or hit the wall or hit something. Ad-deenu nurun. How much of this deen, this nur is in my life? If I see my life to be dark, let me go and think, because deen is not in my life in that case. And I see it, unfortunately, in a position that I'm in, I always get to see the end of the life of people when they come here for divorce, for parental issues, for all the issues that they come here and they ask for some kind of dua. They come at the end, I see there's darkness. I can see religion was not there in their life. This nur, they didn't have it. They keep harming themselves and harming other people. Deen, this nur was not there. When we talk about rizq, right now as soon as I say rizq, what does it come to your mind? For you to go online banking, you open, suddenly you see somehow 6-figure in your account. We consider that to be rizq. قال أمير المؤمنين من رزق الدين فقد رزق خير الدنيا والآخرة. If Allah has given you deen as rizq, you have gotten the best of dunya and akhirah if you have deen. And if you don't have deen, you don't have anything in there. Do I have this in me or not? Deen in the way we eat, deen in the way we sleep, deen in the way we interact with one another, deen in every aspect of our life, it's deen. Brother and sister came to me here about 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. They came here. I was in a very bad situation. Very bad situation. They were about to fight one another physically. They were getting divorced. And I didn't know what to do in this kind of situation. I can see deen was not there. And the wife and husband relationship. Oh, you got this much money from me? No, you got this much money. And they start talking very, very trash about one another. And I'm just sitting there, I don't know what to do. Why? Deen was missing. They didn't have this rizq in their life. You might say, well, if Allah didn't give them this rizq, then we should not blame them. They didn't ask for this rizq. They didn't take advantage of the little bit that deen that they had for Allah to increase it. Of course, Allah will take it away. Allah will take it. Allah gives us a ni'mah, a blessing, a rizq. He gives it to us. If we spend this rizq and this ni'mah in their best places, Allah increases. But if I took this money, imagine you give your son or daughter, you give them $20. Rather than them, okay, buying a little bit some good things for themselves and then saving a little bit or buying good things, they go and buy the trashiest thing ever. Whatever. They come for the next $20. Will you give them? Yes or no? No, you won't. It's like, what happened to the other $20? Well, I don't know. I went here, I went there, I ate all of these candies, and you know, it's bad for him. And $20 candies? It was my money. I wanted to spend the way I wanted to spend. How many kids they'll tell their parents, it's my money. Allah gives us rizq. In every aspect of our life, Allah gives us rizq. How do we spend this rizq? Will bring more rizq. Will bring more rizq. The more I bring the teachings of Islam and Deen into my life, the more Allah gives me, the more He gives me. And Allah Ta'ala, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, قال أمير المؤمنين لا يعطي الدين إلا لخاصته وصفوته من خلقه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give religion except to those people who He has chosen. So if you see you have this beautiful deen, this gem in you, that you act upon the teachings. I know some of us, we might be behind a little bit, we not be up to the task, what Allah wants from us. I understand. But if I have something in me, know that you've been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you have this deen, and Allah bless you to born in a family who are religious. Because right now I have a message, I have a DM, a sister messaged me. She's like, I want to be religious, I want to wear hijab, I want to eat only halal food, but my parents and my friends, they tell me, we thought you are educated. We thought you are modern. We thought you know better than going backward and have religion and have hijab on your head and eat halal food. You shouldn't be. She's like, I don't know what to do. If I start wearing hijab, if I start eating halal, if I start praying all of my prayers on time, my family, my relatives, my friends, they will all abandon me. You see how much blessing all of us we have? That our parents are religious, we are religious, alhamdulillah, we have this deen. We need to invest, we need to take advantage of whatever we have and establish more on it. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, make sure my tragedy is not in my deen. Tragedy physically, it's okay. Health issues, it's okay. Financial issues, it's okay. Marital issues, it's okay. Everything, oh Allah, please make sure my tragedy, that's the dua of Fatimiyah al-Zahra, make sure my tragedy is not in my deen. I want this deen to protect me in this dunya and akhirah. What we would have done without the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام حسنوا الدين بالدنيا ولا تحسنوا الدنيا بالدين. Protect your deen, your religiosity with dunya. Sacrifice your dunya if it comes to it for the sake of deen. Sacrifice. Give from dunya as much as you have to protect deen. Do not protect your dunya with deen. What a beautiful hadith. I'll repeat. Protect your deen and iman and faith with dunya. Whatever you have in this dunya, give. Make sure your deen is protected. And make sure, don't be amongst those people who will protect this deen. They will protect their dunya with deen. This is what Fatimiyah al-Zahra wants from you and I. Al-musibatu bid-deen a'azamul musibah. Tragedy in deen. And if I tell you, what is the worst tragedy that you have faced? What is the worst tragedy? What is the definition of worst tragedy? Worst musibah. Somebody might say, well, financial. Somebody say maybe losing family member, losing a parent, or losing a son or a daughter, or going, I don't know, whatever musibah that you. None of them, when it comes to deen, al-musibah to bid-deen, tragedy within the religion, meaning that the religion doesn't exist in your life anymore. A'azamul masa'ib is the greatest tragedy one can face if his deen is no longer there. Brothers and sisters, this deen didn't get to you and I cheap. Thousands of bloods were shed for you and I to have this religion and practice it. Until today, do we know of, as many of us that we know about every part of the world, but do we know about the part of the world that the Shias, until today, there is a genocide against Shia in Parachinar? Do we know of it? Have we as a Shia done anything for the Shia of Parachinar? No, because we don't know. We go with the media. Media says, let's focus in here. Everybody focuses here. Media says, focus there. Everybody focuses there. Do we know about the Shias in Afghanistan? Do we know about Shias in Jordan? Do we know of them? Do we know about the Shias in Bahrain? Do we know about the Shia genocide? That because people are Shia in America, in Virginia, because people are Shia, they're being manipulated. Do we know of it? No. But because everybody's doing one thing, well, I want to be part of them. Until today, people are paying the price of this deen. For it to stand, bloods were given. Why? Because Allah wanted this religion for you and I, because this is our khair. This is our benefit. Our salvation is due to this deen to be standing upright. ثلاث هن كمال الدين. Perfection of deen is in three things. Al-ikhlas, sincerity. Am I a sincere person? Or everything that I do for anyone, I make sure I do it in order for me to get something back. Husband does something for his wife, but it's all transactional. I did this for you, you make sure you do this for me. Wife does something for her husband, I did this for you, make sure you did this for me. Parents for kids, kids for parents, brothers for brothers, sisters, everybody does something. We have to start learning sincerity. I did this qurbatan Allah Ta'ala. People saw me or they didn't see me. Yaqeen, certainty. Wal taqannu'. This is a difficult one. Sincere, maybe I will try. Ikhlas, certainty, yaqeen, taqannu', qina'ah. Being content. Am I a content person or not? Or as much as I have, I want more and I'm not happy about what I have. Qana'ah is about being happy with what you have. Strive to have more. No doubts. In dunya and akhirah, let us have more, but make sure whatever we have in this dunya is for akhirah. But some people, whatever they have, how's things? You don't see them saying, Alhamdulillah. Being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the countless blessings that He has for us. Okay, what is the head of this deen? The core of this deen. قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام رأس الدين مخالفة الهوى. The head of this deen is whatever your desire says, you do the opposite. Whatever your desire says, you do the opposite. This shows that you are start to having the head of this deen, like the core of this deen in you. Everything your nafs, your desire says, from smallest thing to the biggest thing. Haram, of course, no. Start, if you want to discipline yourself, start some things that are mustahab, start doing it. Your body says, okay, leave it, do it. Start avoiding makruhat. It's a beautiful story. One of my mentor, Ayatollah, said Mehdi Shirazi, he was saying that his father, Rahmatullah alayhi, Allah bless his soul, said Muhammad Shirazi, who wrote more than 1,000 books. He said, I told him, tell me about stories of your father. Like what you learned. Like how can a person write more than 1,000 books? Like how? Some of us, we haven't read that many books. Forget about writing that many books. He said because he had control of his desire. I told him how. This is very general. He said, for example, we're sitting on a dinner table. We're sitting and we're eating. We guys call it Afghani destarkhan, sofre, whatever. I see food. His hand is coming to get, it's mubah. Eating, it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. He had a plate. He ate. He's finished. Typically, we go for the second round. Or extra. You know, Ramadan is upon us. 3-4 months, blink of an eye, Ramadan is there. You know, after Ramadan, you have these baklawas, all of these sweets, dates. I'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In a way, I like to become like a camel to store, because tomorrow, all day, I won't be able to have anything. He said, I would see his hand coming towards something within the meal that he wants to get extra. He will pull his hand back. He controls his desire, Halal way for himself, with no one else. For himself, because he has a mission. What destroys this deen? And I will finish with this. What destroys this deen? قال Abu Abdullah al-Sadiq alayhi salam, salawat by his name. Afatud deen. Whatever destroys this deen, al-hasad, jealousy. Who would have thought that jealousy can destroy deen, can destroy one's faith? Jealousy. Wal-ujb, liking oneself. Standing in front of a mirror, looking at myself. What did Allah create? I yet to see a person handsome like me. Seriously? I yet to find another beautiful girl like me. I'm the only. Seriously? Having self-pride, this is negative. Self-pride, that it's me. Guess what? Pharaoh, that's how he became Pharaoh. Slowly, slowly, one person becomes Pharaoh. You don't sleep one night, you wake up in the morning, you're Pharaoh. No. Slowly, slowly you become Pharaoh. My car, my house, my statement, my credit score, my knowledge, it's me. I'm the one who got there. Guess what? Deen is being taken away from you. We have to be very careful. Let's remind ourselves of this dua of Fatimiyah al-Zahra, where she says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa la taj'al ad-dunya akbar hammi. Memorize it. Very easy. Salawat, we all know of it. Let's recite salawat. Wa la taj'al ad-dunya akbar hammi. Do not make this dunya to be my greatest concern. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ مُصِيبَتِي فِي دِينِي. Don't let tragedies that I'm going to face to be regarding my deen. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot to do with ourselves. At any given age, wherever we are religiously, wherever we are materialistically, wherever we are in our life, there is always room for improvement. We can get better. If I am at level from 1 to 10 of Iman and faith and deen, from 1 to 10 I am at 2nd, I can become 3rd. 3rd, I can work to become becoming 4. And keep in mind, when I get to 4, I have to make sure I stay at 4. Some people, they get to 4, they think, okay, alhamdulillah, I'm at 4, okay, I'm going to leave it. No, you have to work hard to stay at 4 and then work harder to go to 5. And go to 6. And stay at 6. Go to 7. Stay at 6. 7, 8, 9. And elevate yourself. The action plan would be, when we go home tonight, while you're driving, all of you have 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour drive. If you're alone, think to yourself. If you're with your wife, think about it together. If you're with your children, think about it. Each one of you analyze yourself and have your wife or your spouse to analyze, what is your main concern? Like if somebody comes and tells me, Sheikh Mustafa, I think from your action, this is your main concern. Because this is the thing that we always think about, work toward, we worry about, is that our main concern. What is my main concern? If it's dunya, well, I need to do this dua more, that this dunya should not be my greatest concern. Deen should be my greatest concern, that I leave this world with husnul aqibah, with good ending, brothers and sisters. Because a lot of people started good, but they did not have good ending. If you see yourself within the majlis of Fatimiyah al-Zahra, may Allah bless you. Be proud of yourself. This is a good pride to have. That you came. Fatimiyah al-Zahra accepted you. Imam al-Mahdi ajrallah ta'ala for Sharif accepted you to come and participate in the majlis of his mother. Give yourself pat in the back, but make sure to invest on this that you have in you. Fatimah al-Zahra paid everything and sacrificed everything for this deen. We can turn off the lights. She gave whatever she can to defend deen, which that deen is Imam Ali alayhi salam. We can turn off the echo. I don't need echo. Deen summarizes in Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen is deen. When he was in the house, people also started coming to the house. We can turn off all the lights. People start coming and seeking refuge in the house of Fatimah al-Zahra. That they didn't want to pledge allegiance to Abu Bakr. They didn't want. When Abu Bakr and Umar heard that there are people in the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatimah al-Zahra, they don't want to come. They came a couple of times. And they came and they said, we need everyone who is in this house. Salman was there. Zubair was there. Miqdad was there. Abu Dhar was there. About 15 people were in the house of Fatimah al-Zahra, next to Amir al-Mu'mineen, who didn't want to pledge allegiance to Abu Bakr. Couple of times Abu Bakr sent different people. Khalid ibn Walid came. He said, okay, everybody who's in this house, they must come out and they must come and pledge allegiance with the Khalifa of Muslimin, that usurped the Khilafah from Amir al-Mu'mineen. Everybody has to come and pledge allegiance with Abu Bakr. Umar came, according to non-Shia books, according to Sunni books. Umar came a couple of times and he said that I will burn the house, and everyone who is in the house, I will burn them unless you leave the house and you come and pledge allegiance. This is mentioned in non-Shia books. In Sunni books is mentioned that Umar threatened to burn the house. He burned the house, not only the house, and anyone who's in it. He said, if I come and you don't leave, I will come and burn. For the last time, when he came, Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, she came behind the door. She came behind the door and said, you hear me, this is Fatima, daughter of Rasulullah. This is the door that Rasulullah used to come and knock on this door and will take permission to enter this house. Jibreel will take permission to enter this house. Umar, are you burning my door, my house? People told Umar al-Khattab, it's Fatima in the house, daughter of Rasulullah. He said, be it. So, be it Fatima in the house. This is the tragedy that we see. Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, that malaika descend to her and they talk with her and they comfort her. After the martyrdom of Rasulullah, malaika used to come to Fatimah al-Zahra and have a conversation as a muhadditha. They want to burn the house of Lady Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. And until today, we should not talk about it. Why? Fatimah al-Zahra comes behind the door while she's pregnant with her Muhsin. 6 months she's pregnant. She comes behind the door and she says, I will protect the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, more than 300 men came and gathered around the house of Fatimah al-Zahra. And they brought woods around the house. For the next month or two, everybody who wanted wood to take it home, to burn and turn on their oven, they will come next to the house of Fatimah al-Zahra. See how much woods they brought next to the door of Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. While she's behind the door, she's trying to defend deen, the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They burned the door. And Umar, in a letter, he wrote to Muawiyah, that Muawiyah, when I heard Fatima is behind the door, I hit the door so hard and I kept pushing it. I heard ribs are broken behind the door. These were the ribs of Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, and a nail piercing through the ribs of Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. She falls on the ground, but she does not call her husband Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. She does not. They entered the house and Fatimah al-Zahra, our lady, Fatimah Sayyidatun Nisa al-Alameen, soul of Rasulullah, on the ground. She's laying on the ground while she's bleeding. All these men, they walked into the house while seeing Fatimah al-Zahra on the ground. They entered the house. They had a rope around the neck of Amir al-Mu'mineen. All of you husbands, all of you men sitting in this majlis, imagine you walking while your wife is on the ground and she's bleeding. Think of that. While Imam Ali alayhi salam was walking, the only thing that he could do, his hand is tied, his neck, they're dragging him. He had his abaya and he left his abaya. He threw his abaya on Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. They're about to take Amir al-Mu'mineen. She get back her conscious. She sees they're dragging Amir al-Mu'mineen. She holds on to the belt of Amir al-Mu'mineen, that I will not let go of my husband, my Imam, I will not let go of him. Umar al-Khattab tells Qunfud, remove the hand of Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha. They start hitting the elbows of Fatimah al-Zahra with the bottom of the swords. They start lashing Fatimah al-Zahra. They slap Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha so she can let go of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ala la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalibun.